And welcome to our podcast on Yes to an MQ State, North Queensland State. Today we're joined by Desmond Tayley. Desmond hails from the Wujal Wujal. Did I say that correctly, Desmond? The Wujal Wujal tribe up there in the beautiful region of northern Australia of Cook, and has put his hand up for the NQ First Party under the leadership of the head of that party, Jason Costigan. So, out to you, Desmond. Welcome aboard, mate, and welcome to the podcast. You there, Desmond?
Onto your show, so look. Hello.
Yeah, mustn't be a great line. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just welcome to the show again. There. I was just checking everything, but I think
Desmond, yes, sorry, mate. Well, it's a poor line, Desmond. Just to sort of keep an eye, if you can keep still in the best service you can there. I know you're up in the regions of Australia, and right there and there's a good reason to for a job to get on to, get the telcos all nice and clean up there for you, mate. Where are you calling from tonight, Desmond?
I'm calling from Wujal Wujal tonight, here in Cape York, far north Queensland.
Beautiful. Desmond, I have fond memories driving up the Bloomfield track there, and that really is a beautiful part of the world, mate, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's probably one of the most visited places up here in far north Queensland. A lot of people come up the Bloomfield track. They come and see the reef and the rainforest. So we have the Daintree National Park here. So that's why it's probably one of the most visited places up here.
You know, I was gobsmacked to hear the size of your electorate up there is 290 square kilometres. It's bigger than the UK, apparently.
It is, mate. It takes, a whole day to get from one end to the other. So, the Cook electorate is pretty big. So, if you're travelling up this way, give yourself a bit of time to get around the place.
From A to B. Oh, absolutely. And, mate, tell me, is it, like this time of the year, we're coming out of the dry. We've had a little bit of rain in Cairns today where I'm based. How's it up there? Is it starting to get a bit wetter this time of year yet, or is it still dry?
Look, it's starting to dry up a bit now, but, we're starting to see signs out here. You live out on the bush and, the country, so to speak. You see telltale signs, being Indigenous. We learn to, read the signs of, the country itself. So, you see a lot of movement of wildlife. Coming back from Cooktown last night, I've seen probably 10 snakes on the road. So that's a good indication that, there's rain coming somewhere.
Right.
So.
And what are they seeking out? High ground? Was that what they're working on?
They normally go out and try and seek shelter. We just come out of the winter season as well, so they come out of hibernation. They're out and about.
Get a bit of sun too, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Get a bit of sun and feed,
Yeah. Now, Desmond, tell me, you've given quite a bit of service to the community over the years. I believe you even served on the council and the local government up there. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I spent 19 years in local government here in the local council. 3 of those terms I've spent as mayor, and when I first got in, I spent 3 terms as the councillor. So I do have a bit of experience around local government and how the local government system works.
Right. And look, I mean that's amazing that you've had that already that hat in the ring, and quite a responsibility there, and scrutiny. A lot of councils get under so much scrutiny in that by the populace, and everyone wants a piece of the act. Wants something done, and that the purses only go so far. So there's a lot of diplomacy required in that sort of a role, and trying to keep everyone happy and to stay in power for that length of time is a great testament to obviously your character. And Jason, who I met a few times, the last time I caught up with Jason was down in Townsville, and he speaks highly of you, mate. So it's big ask. What are you thinking with the election coming up? What's the feeling on the ground in your electorate there? Do you feel you're in this? I mean, you're up against Lou. Is the name? Who's your opposition? Maybe give us that.
Look, the current incumbent is Cynthia Louie. Louie comes from the Torres Strait. Well-respected lady. Look, she's done some, I must say, being part of the local government here for a little while, and she has done some good stuff. But there's a lot of angst out there in regards to the things that weren't done. So, it's all about getting out there, talking with people, and, there is a mood for change here in the Cook electorate. And
how are you feeling?
It requires strong leadership.
How are you feeling? Do you think you're in this, mate? Are we in a shot here?
Look, definitely. Look, in my travels in the last 4 weeks, I've had people come out and support me, people that know me, people who haven't met me before. Just some of the engagements that I've had done so far, they like what we're saying, and they like what NQ First represents.
Mm. Well, look, it's a big cause, isn't it? To look at dividing a state, it is a big cause, but it doesn't mean the show doesn't have to go on in the interim, So, do you have some idea on, what sort of new policy that NQ First is likely to throw around in your electorate up there?
Definitely. Look, it's been on the cards for a long time. I've just come into it, in the mix right now in the last couple of months, but there has been a lot of discussion around it. At this stage, we're supporting the cause, and I think it's a step in the right direction for far north Queensland, central Queensland, and, the rest of the Queensland area.
Sure. And tell me about you, mate. You got a big family behind you there, Desmond?
Definitely, mate. I come from my grandparents on my mum's side, they had 13 kids. On my dad's side, they had 9 kids. So I've got a pretty big family, and, they're all over Cape York and goes right down to Mackay.
Wow.
So I've got a pretty big family.
That's awesome. What about yourself? You got a few squirrels running around there, Desmond, have you?
Yeah, I've got 2 kids. I've got a daughter, she's about 9 years old, and my son is about 8. So I did down in Victoria with mum, so they're finding it a bit hard down there with COVID and some of the restrictions down there, so they can't wait to get back home.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing you. And tell me, how did that affect the Cape? Speaking of COVID, was it, it was a very, it was a surreal time, wasn't it? There was lockdowns and you couldn't access the Cape, and I guess it was frustration of people trying to get home or trying to get out. What was the sentiment up there like, mate? I mean, what was going on?
Oh, look, mate, there has been a lot of angst around the closure of our borders, and people wanted to come in and people wanted to go out. So, look, at the end of the day, community made a choice to, lock out the communities to visitors coming in. But we wanted to have better management of that. We talk about the food supplies, we look at the local economies. A lot of our communities have cultural arts centres, and we have community stores. So that sort of affected a lot of these small business in a big way. But then you look at places like Cooktown and, the rest of Cape York and some of the places down south of us where we are now, Port Douglas, they've suffered in a big way in terms of the COVID. It has affected a lot of the business in the electorate of Cook.
That's really interesting to say that. I mean, I'm in a tourism business in Cairns myself, and, I'll never forget my wife wailing in my office when they said you have to shut your business and go home. It was such a surreal year that what's transpired, and coming out of it the other side is just as big a battle moving forward. Excuse me, coughing in the background there. So it's certainly going to take some good guidance and leadership over this next couple of years to steer things in the right direction. What are your thoughts at the moment? Like, what do you reckon is going to happen in this election? Let's say you get into power there, Desmond, and you win that seat, and a couple of others fall. Do you think it's going to be who's going to prevail in this election? Do you feel? Do you reckon the Liberal or Labor? One of the majors will get up, obviously, but what's your gut feeling on this, Desmond?
Oh, look, I think, just speaking on the electorate of Cook, there's 8 candidates, and look, it could be anyone's win at the end of the day. But, there's mixed emotion in regards to the big parties. Like I said earlier, there's mood for change. So at the moment, it's sort of unpredictable. But look, at the end of the day, the people are asking for these major parties or whoever gets in, they need to get back down to the local level and start talking to people. There are challenging time now with COVID. We need to get out there and start talking to people and, get the economy going again. Yeah.
Right, 8 candidates. Okay, well that's really interesting. So you got Cindy Lou, there's yourself, is Palmer up there as well? Is in the Greens? Are they independents? Who's running against you up there, mate?
Oh, look, we've just had the Clive Palmer's party come in, the Greens. There's a lady from Cairns, she's an independent. We've got KAP, One Nation, and the LNP. So these are the parties that's running for the Cook electorate, including our party as well.
Well, that's a big pack of people running, isn't it? That's interesting. And what's it like there? Talk me through election day. Where do people vote up there? Is it up there in your district, mate?
Look, I think a lot of our people, in rural, remote Cape York, and you look at the regional centres like the Port Douglas and the Mareeba and the Cooktown and the Weeper and, up in the Torres Strait, Thursday Island, a lot of those do pre-polling because they're bigger communities. But a lot of the smaller communities in and around the Cape, a lot of them do it on election day. And that's when a lot of our numbers come through there. And that's been like that for many years.
Very interesting. That's interesting, mate. And is it the standard barbecue at the polling booths, mate, like in suburbias, mate, or does that go on in your areas up there, the big barbecue?
Normally it's pretty quiet. It's normally celebrations are done after elections, whether it's local government or state election. Depends on who's supporting who. You normally get a lot of businesses and people around the place to, celebrate the election win.
Yeah. Tell me this, I know there's a lot of noise around Cynthia Lou living down in Cairns there, mate. And, I believe she's moved back to the electorate now, but what's your plans moving forward? Like, Desmond gets in, becomes the MP. Where are you going to hang out, mate? Where's home?
Look, definitely. It's something that's been discussed for a long time, and a lot of the constituents out there aren't happy the way the decision was made in regards to relocation of the office. If I'm successful in getting in, definitely the office will be in Mareeba, but there's options around looking at alternative satellite offices within close areas, maybe Port Douglas or even Cairns. A lot of the people from Cape York and Torres Strait, they visit Cairns. So there needs to be opportunities around that. And I think, it's on the table for discussion.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Interesting. Very good. And now you said your wife and kids are down in Victoria, and they, are they sort of locked in there? Or are they trying to get out at the moment?
Look, they're pretty anxious to, come up north for Christmas, so it's been a bit of a challenge. It's been restricted in terms of the movement down there, but they're 3 hours north of Melbourne, around East Gippsland, so they're pretty much comfortable down there at the moment. So
very good.
Fingers crossed, everything goes well and their numbers drop, and hopefully I can see my kids for Christmas.
Do I really hope that all these borders get open sooner or later. I think it's going to be. I think you'll find that your region there is going to boom for the next couple of years on the back of this, Desmond. As I said, I'm in tourism. And whilst people can't travel outside of Australia, You know, and I believe I've heard numbers that say that we spend $20 billion more travelling than what the tourists spend in Australia. So you imagine having what the tourists spent plus an extra $20 billion on top injected into all the local communities and all these remote regions and that where Aussies will get out and travel to. I think it's going to be a bumper couple of years coming up for those areas, and domestic tourism is really going to flourish. So I think we're coming for a real sweet spot, some good times up there. So letting all your local people know to get ready for that bonanza and get out there knocking out the local arts, because you're probably going to need them to sell to all the tourists that are coming through. Now, mate, can I ask you this? Where's your favourite part of the Cape? Where's your favourite part?
I reckon the favourite part of Cape York is, there's no place like home. I keep saying this, Wujal so nice. Wujal so nice, you've got to say it twice.
That's right.
We have the reef and the rainforest here. I think we have the best of both worlds, and look, I think it's not too far from Cairns or Cooktown, so it's ideally situated. So, but, I've been to other Cape communities. I think all of our places in Cape York are beautiful, and even to the south of us. So I think we live in the best part of Queensland, and look, I think, it needs to be shared, and, we've got to make sure that we, get the appropriate, measures in to make sure that we encourage the local economy to come back and start moving forward, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, it is a balance to sort of share it and protect it at the same time, isn't it? And keep traditions and things like that. So, I'm right behind you on that. I think most Australians are too, mate. So, that's, we wish you well moving on forward on, first of all, putting your hand in the ring. It's a big decision, and, it takes a lot of time. You don't know, you're pretty much working for the people. You're aiming to work for the people, and, we certainly hope that you can, get yourself over the line. Now, tell me this, what would be some of the passionate things besides creating a new state? What would be some of some of the policies that you feel that need to be looked at, reworked, or or remanaged with you in as the MP up there, Desmond?
Oh, look, I think where we live in the electorate of Cook, it's quite unique. We get a lot of heavy rain and cyclonic condition and weathers up here. So in terms of funding, it's hard to come by. A lot of the funding is based around trying to get it done before the wet season, and that's always been a challenge for the local governments and a lot of the organisations here in the Cook electorate. So we've got to make sure that government review in terms of how they provide funding to a lot of our organisations in the Cook electorate. So that would be one thing. The other thing is, the funding around, disaster management and all that sort of stuff. There needs to be some sort of policy in regards to trying to get that funding out there really quickly. So, that's only two things that, I can think of, but there's a lot more out there. We need to reconsider and put on the table to review again.
And tell me this: I know the bitumen road around the back way to Cooktown from heading up from Cairns. What's the Blueville like at the moment, mate? Is she in good nick, or is she run down? Or what's the road like heading up past Wujal, mate?
Oh, look, the road between here and Cape Tribulation, it's a lot to be desired. It's something that we've had it on the cards for a number of years, and look, it urgently needs upgrading, bit of funding spent on there, but that hasn't been forthcoming. So, it's in Douglas Shire, and again, if there was some sort of work that needs to be done there, you've got to include the Douglas Shire Council and even the local government authority of the day and the government itself. So, there needs to be more discussions around, upgrading that road as well. But generally speaking, a lot of our roads in Cape York has slowly improved over the years now. You mentioned the Mulligan Highway. I remember back in the days, you took about 6 hours to get down to Cairns. Now you could do it in 4 hours, so that's been really good. Injection of funding in Cape York around the PDR, that has improved the road condition for the locals and, visitors coming through. So it has boosted the local economy as well, which is great.
Brilliant. That's good. And tell me this, even with the COVID, have you seen a lot more like caravanning and that sort of thing up your end of the world in the last 6 months? Have there been a lot of people, traffic on the road on that, like, I guess local Queenslanders up and about there?
Oh, look, since the reopening of the borders and, opening up for the rest of Queensland, we have seen the increase of, caravans coming through, people towing trailers. There has been a lot of increase of that traffic coming through. In a sense, It's good, but again, we've got to make sure that, this whole process is managed properly. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of our people, especially Indigenous people, they're very vulnerable to a lot of, things like COVID. So we've got to make sure the health of the people, are looked after.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. Absolutely. And I guess now, I'm just trying to look at my calendar. How far out are we from the election at the moment, Desmond? How many weeks to go, mate? What have you got left?
We're just under. It's on the 31st of October, so it's about 2 weeks away now. So not
about 2 weeks away. So what's your plan in the rundown to the election, mate? What are we doing? A lot of road work. You'd be putting some miles in, wouldn't you?
Look, mate, leading up to the elections, it's probably for me and I guess the other candidates, just getting out there and talking to people and make sure that, our voices are heard. Again, you got to be, talking to people to, tell them about what you're all about and what are some of your plans and what are your party is standing for. And people like to know who they're voting for. So that's important. Yeah. So that's the plan from now on inwards, I guess.
Yep.
And, for me, it's been busy for the last 2 weeks. I've had the opportunity to talk to people like yourselves. We've met with the Chamber of Commerce up in Mareeba. There's another one coming up in Port Douglas, which is on the 24th. So I'm really excited about this whole process. So it's been a journey for me as well.
Personally, yeah, of course, mate. And like you get to meet a lot of people. You're shaking hands. How do you go remembering names? Are you good at it, or are you? I'm really ordinary, I must admit. Do you remember all the names? Or you remember the faces, don't you? But how do you go with all the names, mate? Are you all over that?
Mate, spending 19 years in local government, you had to remember people names. So apparently you say their names about 3 or 4 times in a conversation, and it just refreshes your memory. So that's some of the techniques that I've picked up over the years, But yeah, it's hard to remember people's name.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's so many people, There's a lot of people you're representing up there, so I get it. Mate, that's exciting. Now, have you guys had, like, at the chamber, did you have a debate with the other candidates, or did you just go and meet with the chamber?
Look, we had the Chamber of Commerce, a number of the local people, ratepayers and residents. You also had the Mareeba Shire Council, so it was great to have that audience there, and it was all the candidates that's running for the elections, but we didn't have the other 2 that came in late in terms of nomination, so it was the other 6.
Right.
But the conversation went really well up there.
Oh, good. And what's the sentiment down in Mareeba, mate? Like, I haven't been at Mareeba for probably a good year and a half, 2 years I haven't been up there, but, it's a lovely little place, isn't it, old Mareeba? But, she certainly is a lot quieter than she used to be 20, 30 years ago, I guess. She's, become a bit of a hollow town, isn't it?
Oh, mate, Mareeba's growing in a big way, and, I remember, growing up in the region, and Mareeba was one of the big towns in the area. But look, the sentiment down there is, there's mood for change. Again, the biggest concern is, getting better health services up there, improving some of the roads. One of the biggest impediments down the other end is, the Kuranda Range. how do we get better access and, get the traffic flowing down into the Cairns so you could, get the, farm stuff down there in terms of, fruits and veggies, cattle. How do we improve the road condition of the Kuranda Range? Again, it's been a bottleneck for a long time, and the previous government didn't make any commitment to, improving that. So, there has to be a lot of discussion around it. And again, you've got to talk with the local community down there to make sure things start to move forward.
You know what? When I a few years back was running a small tourism business that operated out to the reef, I was always nervous when we had rain. I had staff who live up at Kuranda come to work, and I was always worried that it takes one bingle, and these crewmen were always late. So it's sadly to say this, when people say I live in Kuranda, I'd be like, I don't know whether I want to employ you, because when it rains, sometimes you won't make it to work, and when you're a key person, it's quite difficult, So, I certainly understand what you're saying there, and I'm sure many of the constituents would also be, waving that. And successive governments have really done little to rectify this that issue. I mean, it's been targeted, but it's got plenty of room for improvement. I totally agree with you there, Desmond, and I hope you get to dig your nails into some good coin and get into that bit of highway. I think that'll be something great that you could do and leave behind as a legacy for the people of the York Peninsula. Now, what's the most furthest north town that we get up to there in the Cape York, mate? What's your furthest north town that you get up to and say good day to people?
Look, the most furthest north town you get up to is, the NPA area, which is in Bamaga. Then you got TI and Bardu Island. So that's probably the northernmost part of the electorate up here. So it's always important to get up to the island communities as well. And again, the remote location up there. But it's good to get up there and, start talking to people and, get yourself known and, get the message out there and start working with people. Yeah.
Very good. Well, mate, is there anything you want to say? Any messages you want to get across to any of the local constituents that are listening today? Is there any key thing you want to get across today in our little chat here? Feel free to fire away now. Go, sir.
Look, at the end of the day, if I'm successful in getting in, I'll make sure that, the region is represented really well, and, I'll get out there and I'll start talking to people. And look, the common sense approach is that, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There has been a lot of good stuff done in the past, so we need to go back and start looking at that. But the thing is, we've got to make sure that, whoever gets in regards to the majority, we need to make sure that, the electorate of Cook is well represented. And, we talk about, changing the states and stuff like that. Queensland has been left out for a long time, and we've got to let the big government know that, you guys got to start looking after the north. A lot of our taxpayers' money are heading down south. Why aren't we getting the piece of that pie? So that needs to be really questioned.
Absolutely. And, mate, look, I've sort of been through what I think we can go through there tonight, Desmond. Unless you've got anything you really want to add to sign off on this, we might look at wrapping this up. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you, mate. You sound like you're a man with a mission. You sound like you're focused on where you're heading. And, I do wish you all the best. And, and I congratulate you putting your hat in the ring and stepping up, and get out there, get amongst it, get into all those little community groups in there backing you behind you, mate. I'm sure you're going to bring home the bacon. So, Desmond, it's been my pleasure having you on the podcast today. So thank you very much, Desmond Tayley, for appearing on and speaking today. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, sir. We'll have a great evening, and we'll wrap it up there, everyone. That's the NQ First candidate we're talking to tonight, who's the candidate for Cook. So good luck to Desmond in the upcoming election. Thank you, and goodbye. All right. Thanks, Desmond. Good job, mate.
Thanks, mate. Do I need to press any special button here? No?
No, mate, you'll see that there's, I think if you go down, there's just a hang up button at the bottom there, like on the bottom right, is it?
Yep, cool.
I think you just hit that, and it says leave, or I think it's, or I'm not sure, slide sideways, so maybe, I think you just hit that and hang up, and, mate, good luck, buddy, and wish you well. Next time you're down in Cairns, pop in and say good day. I've got a little floating office down here in the marina, the Cairns boat hire, that's where I'm based, you know?
Okay, no worries, definitely, mate. Once again, thanks again, Patrick.
No, pleasure. Good luck, Desmond. Wish you well in the election, mate. Take it easy. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
Good stuff. You there, David?
Yeah, mate, I just came back from the phone about 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, good job, mate.